All right, got the front of the machine in the air, and I'm going to go ahead and take this steering cylinder end off. One of the things that I've noticed recently running the machine is there is some oil on the end of the cylinder. I don't think the cylinder's leaking per se, but it does have some oil on the end of it. So we're gonna just give the end of the cylinder a good inspection and replace this pin and everything, or this cotter pin, whatever you want to call it. You know, this kind of stuff isn't necessarily, you don't have to do this all the time. I'm doing it because I've had trouble with this machine in the past with these joints getting frozen up and basically possibly causing a little bit more wear than I would like. So I got to find a, I got a 17 and an 18, not a 17. Not an 18. Wow, that was terrible. Is it a 20? It's a 19. Alright, so 5 trips later, I think it was 5 trips, we know that's 19 millimeters. Broke it off there. See if we can get it to drop out. Perfect. Now, let's take and drop this out. We're not going to be able to pivot it too far because basically it's still hooked up on the other end. But now I'm just going to take and clean all this excess grease out of there and get it kind of cleaned up. So yeah, it's still free, which is good. That's what we want to see. It doesn't seem, is not worn excessively, so that's good news. I like to see that. So won't lie, I was concerned this thing had frozen up on me and I wasn't paying attention. So, but everything looks good. So got all the old stuff out of there. Still moves well in there. Not too much shaking or anything, so we're going to call that one good. I mean, I realize that we could clean it up a little bit more, but I mean, realistically, this whole machine needs a bath, so we're just going to call it good for the moment. And this spring, I'll clean it really well. All right, so tighten that back down. I don't need to go full potato and tighten it down, but well, what do you know? Ended up perfect. So I'll replace that key here in just a minute. Now we'll move on to the next one. I want to check the tie rod. All right, so let's check out this tie rod here. pins that I need. This one's loose. Now I wonder if that doesn't look like a 20 millimeter either. But we're gonna check. It's not, but it's loose enough that I can use the 20 for it. And I'm actually just gonna go ahead and take the tie rod off. Actually, first, I wanna put this back on here. Okay, I'm gonna go over the other side and get the other side off, and then we'll come back and look at the tie rod. All right, so got the tie rod off the machine, and go ahead. And I covered this a few weeks ago. So this is the tie rod off of the mechanical four-wheel drive units. It has this bend in it, so it goes underneath the drive shaft, the four-wheel drive shaft to the front end drive shaft. This piece is probably one of the more disappointing pieces of an X748 because it is not serviceable in any way, shape, or form. Basically, it's been welded in. You can't adjust them, which, you know, honestly, if you get to thinking about it, I don't know necessarily if it needs to be adjustable. Because if it was adjustable, chances are it would come out of adjustment and people would not readjust properly. So I think it's one of those things that maybe it's good that it's not adjustable, but Deere wants an absolutely outrageous price for these things. I want to say that a new tie rod is over $300, which, you know, considering a two-wheel drive unit, the tie rod is probably, you know, probably in the neighborhood of 70 bucks. So, but looks like there's a little bit of water in there. Seems nice and tight, which is good. So a little bit of clunkiness there, but I think that's okay. So I'm happy with that. The tie rod doesn't seem to be in bad shape. I'll get the grease seals cleaned up off camera, or the grease boots, whatever you want to call them. This one doesn't seem as happy, and the reason being, oh no, okay, I thought there was some wear there. But this one seems okay as well. Not too loose. It's good. So tie rods are good. So now it's just a matter of getting everything cleaned up and reassembled and then re-greased. So I'm going to clean this up. That's going to take me a little bit to get all the last bits of grease, clean these boots up and everything, and we can go from there. All right. So now that we've gotten this far, we can put our keys back in and bend them over. All right, now that we've gotten this far, we can put our keys in and bend them over as they should be. Oops. I think I'm actually going to get my brass hammer out. We're just gonna there we go. That looks a little bit better. Well, crap. We didn't get them tight enough in there. That's gonna rattle around. So I suppose I need to bring it back. I was hoping I could get it tight enough in there. Trying to keep my hands out of the way here as well. So now we're just going to bring it up and over. Now normally this is one of those tasks that doesn't take me any time at all, but you try to do it for the camera and there's no telling how long it's going to take you to do it. And my hands are just going to have to be in the way. And then I suppose we'll bring this other one up the same way. That's the way it was when I took it out, so I suppose that's the way. I'd never taken the steering cylinder off before, so I suppose that's the way Deere wanted them. There you go. Okay, now on to our next one. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better. Can't remember which direction it went in. When I thought I had it, oh, there we go. Need to hit it one more time. There we go, perfect. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and spread these and then go do the other side, and then I'll do a wrap-up portion of the video. This has been a pretty easy project. I didn't find anything bad. One thing I did do off camera is I inspected to make sure that the front axle couldn't move back and forth on the kingpin, or I guess you'd call it a kingpin, pivot bolt, whatever you want to call it, and it didn't move back and forth, so I'm happy with that. That's something I do grease pretty regularly. So I think overall I'm going to give the front end of the X748 here a clean bill of health, at least for another couple hundred hours, and we'll carry on. I will watch the end of this cylinder right here, make sure it is not leaking. But I'll do a wrap up here at the end and with it all back together.